Hello and welcome back to Choice Bits of Bliss. Today I have out So Happy Together by Simple Stories. And if you have watched the previous videos where I have featured this, um, then you know this is a big deal. If you haven't watched those videos, I'll fill you in. This is a collection that I have had a mental block about, and I purposely put a portion of it in my summer kits so that it would be front of mind and it would push me to go ahead and get it used. And so today we're going to use it. Now, I have been talking to my friends, and I have 4 categories of paper that if I need to make a kit bigger or easier for me to use, a collection, if I don't have a lot left, whatever, if I'm needing to beef up a collection or a kit, then I add papers from those 4 categories. And for me, this is not something that's set in stone. This is for me and what works in my space. I have gingham, wood grain, text or ledger. I put those together, and text. So those 4 categories I feel like can enhance any collection, any kit, and they're just widely usable. Now, for some people, it would be polka dots and stripes and whatever it is that you're drawn to. Definitely make that segregation in your space. I don't want to speak too strongly because your space is your space. But if you are consistently drawn to something, why not? Why not go ahead and make that segregation and then just add it in when you are playing with a kit that is less? So now I'm going to expand that a little bit. I've been asking my friends, okay, what are embellishments that you always reach for? I want 4 embellishments that I can segregate and constantly pull from to place with collections or kits to kind of um, make them more dynamic for me to use. So that's where my brain has been lately. And trust me, I have plenty of embellishments to pull from. I have lots of choices. I have over purchased in every category in my room, in every single category. And my whole venture into YouTube has been about right sizing and trying to get to a place of balance and using what I have purchased, and making the kind of layouts that I want to make. I want to be creative in the way that is inspiring to me. So that's kind of a nutshell of back to where we are with So Happy Together by Simple Stories. And as I'm playing with this today, I'll show you the photos that I'm going to use. Now, these are from my very first trip to Florida. I was with my best friend from high school, and yes, that's me as a young girl. And we had a great time on that trip. But the color in my t-shirt here kind of was what led me. I want to go ahead and start diving into this and play with this. I am also going to slow down and do a make. We're going to make our title. So I'm going to do that again. We're going to make a title cluster together. Let me share with you some things that I have added in. So I have my scraps, of course, and we're going to make use of those. I already have some ideas. I have what's left of my chipboard. I have my die cut pieces here, and I have in this collection kit, there is a piece of paper that has, I want to say 24 of these little cut aparts. So I have those. I have added in, now this is from Pink Fresh, but there's a lot in here that's not going to work, but there's some in here that will work. These here will definitely work, and some of these will work with the kit. These are from Fancy Pants, and I think this color, the yellow, and this color will work. These are from Gingham Garden from American Crafts. No, I'm sorry, Crepe Paper. Still by American Crafts, but it was under the brand Crepe Paper. And a lot of this will work. These are from This Is Us from Rosie Studio. I believe this was put out by Spellbinders, under the Spellbinders brand. And a lot of these will work. I have stickers to play with. I also brought in some really generic washi to play with. That a lot of this could go with anything. And these were a gift from Janet from RTS Scrapbooking. When she made that fall kit for me, that was from a brain just went blank. I had the words and then they were gone. Anyway, she made a fall kit for me back in the fall, and those were a gift from her. So they're just great universal washies that I can use with anything. And then we have my papers. I have some 12 by 12. And I'm going to pause and clear off this area, and then we're going to start making a title. Okay, we're back. Here is something that I was thinking about. So I wanted to use this large journaling piece and layer it. And this ampersand with the floral cluster, I'm going to fussy cut that and trim it out. And then we're going to layer all of this and then stitch across. So this is going to be Love and Memories together. It's going to be laid out like this. So it's going to be kind of like a funky little, this is going to be my base, this heart design. So that's going to be my base underneath this. I'm also looking at this navy blue scallop oval. I'm going to trim it out. I'm going to fussy cut that as well. And I will probably hide this portion here that says Our Family, and then that was cut off. That's going to be hidden more than likely, the text, with something else. I'm going to tuck it under something on the page. Now I'm going to need my base, and I'm going to definitely mat, and then I need to mat my photos. So now that I've kind of told you how this is going to go and how I'm going to work with it, I'm also probably going to make fishtails on each end of this, because it is, let's see, this is 12 inches, and I don't want it to go the entire length of the page. So I definitely need to cut this down a little bit, probably down to 11 inches, and then fishtail. So that's what I'm thinking. I think that's going to be really cute. And hold on just one second. I'll be right back. I have made my fishtail, so I've cut it down, and I've made my fishtail ends. And I am going to ink with my trusty brown that I use. I've been using this for over 20 years. And I had to re-ink it not too long ago for the first time. The weird thing is after I re-inked it, I had to re-ink it again because apparently I didn't get across the whole pad. The papers that I'm going to use on for my base and my background, I just feel like this needs to pop off a little bit. And this is a very simple way, by adding ink to the edges, to create difference in the background. And it just adds a little contrast and shadow. Another way to add shadow, of course, is to lift it up, and then it creates an actual shadow. But this is just what we have right now. So let me get my scissors out, and we're going to trim out. Now I'm not doing this perfect. This is going to be like a rough cut. I'm okay with a little bit of the white showing. And we're going to try to do this as quickly as possible. You're watching this in real time. I've not sped up this video. I tend to cut away large portions first and then go back and do fine work as needed. Sometimes I get lazy and decide, you know what, doesn't need to be need all that fine work. I think one of the things that really struck me about fussy cutting is watching May, and she did a demonstration of some different layouts. This was years ago, but she showed how, like, somebody who did, like, was in every little nook and cranny, and then she showed how somebody just did a really rough cut, and you really, really honestly did not notice the rough cut. I think I get in my own head about things like that and make it into more than it actually is. I used to be a stickler for making sure that every nook and cranny was cut out. So I'm going to leave this portion. The old me would have cut all of that out. I'm not doing it. So this is going to lay something like this. Let's put it on here. I'm going to have to do a little bit of adhering so that when I get over to the machine and stitch that it will stay. Maybe I want to do this. Yeah. I want to tuck it under this piece here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then I think I want to add some other pieces around it, kind of just make this more prominent. That's what I think that's what I'm thinking. Let me go ahead and fussy cut this too, so that I have it out to play with. This morning I have been watching, as I was doing my planning, I've been watching Scrapbooking Quebec. She's doing a power scrapbooking series. And I watched Jenny of Scrapping with Jenny K she beefed up her kit from, I think it's from Bella Boulevard, or maybe it's Doodlebug. But it's something Live 365, I think is the name of the collection. It was so fun to watch her beef up each one of the months to make the size kits that she knows that she uses when she's creating. I love looking through people's paper. Like, if somebody just went in their room and grabbed a stack of paper and went through it on a video, I'd be ecstatic. I would love that so much. I don't know if it's the nosy part in me or the paper lover in me, but I stinking love looking at other people's paper. I'm looking at this, and maybe that's usable. I'm not certain yet, so we're going to keep it anyway. I kind of like that. I like I kind of like that. So let me do some adhering. I'm going to do the stitching, and then I'll be right back. You probably need to know that I'm winging this. I do not have a sketch in mind, but isn't this stinking adorable? Isn't that cute? I'm in love with it. I decided to round the corners on each of these, and then I went back and inked them, and I just think it is adorable. So I love the title. Now I'm selecting papers to put down for my base, and I am going to bring in a cream colored piece of cardstock because the base color is more creamy than it is white. So you can kind of tell, like this is white and then it's just more creamy. So I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock. This is a little more vanilla, so it's going to make a bigger impact. So as I'm looking through, this is what I'm going to be considering. And I really like this piece. Maybe. That may be too much. It may need to come down this way. I think I like that better. And then maybe this. So something like that. And then photos. Once again, winging it. I do not have a plan. I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. And I want these matted, but I haven't decided on what yet. And I don't want to use this as my background because I'm using it here. I want another something else. That was not a good sentence. Should we use the only navy piece I have? I'll tell you right now, because that was the only piece I have of this, I'm gutting this so that I have it later. But I kind of like the navy. Let's look a little further. We're going to put this down as a definite maybe. No, I don't want that one. I know already I don't want that one. I'm not in love with that. But I also kind of like maybe a portion, maybe this for the mats. Don't love that either, but there's something about that I want to keep in play. I'm already using, whoops. Okay. I'm already using this pattern, so I don't want that. I do not want that one. Not really feeling the geometric. Actually. Nah. This is a strong contender. I like the dark background. I do. I do, but I also am so in love with this text. I'm going to have to pray about that and think about it a little bit more. I do like that dark background. So that is how my brain is leading, is to go darker rather than lighter. And that helps tie in. No, I don't like it. Okay, so we're putting those aside. Let's get back to our contenders. And let's think it through. So I like bringing in the floral. It is in a smaller scale here. But if I'm being honest, it doesn't have that pizzazz that I want. So let's try this. I like that. And this is the only other one that just really kind of struck me strongly, that I liked it a lot. I'm going back with bright instead of dark. Excuse me. So this is what we're going to mat it in. And that'll be that. Okay. I'm going to do my trimming, and then we'll get back to creating this. I decided to take out the inside of my base, the mat that I'm going to create for my base, because of gingham. And I only have, even though I have more of this, in this kit, I only have one piece, and I want to be able to use that pattern later on. So we're going to place down, and I'm just eyeballing it. And it's not perfect, but that's okay. It is going to be okay. So we're bringing in our title. And I have not decided yet on what to map my photos in, but once again, playing with this possibility. And I think I'm going to trim this one and make it look like it's longer than it actually is. So I want a little bit to tuck up here, like this. And then tuck down here. And it just creates a longer illusion. No, it creates an illusion of a longer piece. Good gravy. So that's what I'm thinking. And I want to bring in another pattern to play with, a chunky pattern. It could be floral. But I don't know that I'm not so much in love with that. Let's try some of this plaid, and I want to be mindful of elements that I could use or that I would want to use. I'm thinking this strip here is, I don't want to use these. Everything else looks usable to me. So this is what I do when I have one piece of paper and I want to use elements from both sides, from both patterns. So I have the 3x4 cut aparts that I want to make use out of. And then the pattern on the other side I also want to use. Now this doesn't have to be cut exactly on the line, even though I did a decent job at that. What I'm looking for is the pattern on the opposite side. And if I trim inside of this line a little bit into these, it's not a big deal. So that time I did. Now we have this pattern to play with. And we can see how this works with the layout. And I'm liking that. I'm liking how that's coming together. Okay, I need to adhere some things because you know how it drives me crazy. All right, I have everything adhered down, and I think it is really cute. I'm happy how it's coming together. I have my photos that I need to mat. I don't know which way I want these to go. If I want to be this a little more whimsical, I have journaling that I want to do about this trip. And so I feel like maybe stacking up something like this. And then doing journaling down here. I don't want this to be super linear here. This the same length here almost. I want to have it in more of a chunky presentation, something like this. I could probably even trim this photo down. Now these are the actual photos that were printed in 1990. Yeah. So this hotel door here, that's not significant to the story. So something like that. And then do my journaling and then some embellishing. So let me get that pulled together and then I'll be back again. I get carried away when I'm kind of trying to place and think about things, and I wanted to make sure I remembered to share. So I have this 6x8 pad by Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Meadow Flowers, and I'm looking for journaling bits because I know I want to journal quite a bit. So this is what I'm thinking. I don't know if it's going to work. I may not like it, but I want to trim out this piece of paper and use it, but I don't want, let's see, I'm trying to line it up so that I get the angle correctly. So I'm trying to follow along. Need to go down just a hair more. Because when I put the paper down, I want to be able to turn it the direction that I need it to turn. I don't want it to be wonky. Does that make sense? Which I'm realizing now, because it's cut off on this corner, it's going to look like it's wonky anyway. Whatever. We gave it a good try. So there I have a journaling piece. And a good portion of it is going to be hidden. And I think I'm going to go back with a punch, a border punch that I have right here. And make the notebook look. And I've talked about this before. The tools that I use most frequently, I keep near at hand. Because, especially for making videos, if I had to go around my room chasing things, it would be a no-go. I just wouldn't use it. I would have the idea and then I'd be like, forget that. Okay. So we're getting to where we want to be. I want these two corners rounded. And let's see. We're getting there. It's going to happen. I also have, I fussy cut out this, that piece of chipboard to maybe do something at this corner. So I like that. So we can have this here and then do a small cluster there. So maybe cut that in half or so, and then do a small cluster there. So that's kind of what I'm playing with, that idea. I have these that may be a better in scale. I have all of these circles that came with my die cuts. Nothing is really sticking out as this. Nope. Let's go back to the chipboard. We have two of those that are scalloped. Okay. That wasn't the great idea that I thought it would be. And then I have this chipboard here. I don't know. What do we think about that? I'm not loving it. That's what we think about it. This has a little more punch of color. And that's almost the exact same size, so that isn't going to work. But I kind of like this punch of color. I like that. So let's let that rest for a minute, and I will continue to think on it. Okay. I'm going to adhere some things down over here that I know that I like, and then come back to it. Okay, I've adhered some things down. I cut this little doily die cut in half and just played with the placement there. Not sure that I like that. I have one of the things that I look at when I'm creating my clusters is softening harsh corners. So I softened this one with the doily die cut, but I've left this gap here, and I thought I would use this little circle die cut here to layer in to just kind of keep that from being visible, that it's poking out. Actually, I'm going to raise that a little bit so that it's touching the photo. The photo mat, and that just brings all of that together instead of leaving openings. I don't know where this glue schmutz is coming from. I don't know what I did. I must have got wild and crazy with my glue gun. Okay, so I have this other half, but what I'm considering is that I have this light pink here, it's showing here, it's showing here, it's in this flower. I don't think I need a lot more repetition of it. So I'm going to remove it. And there's not a lot of this green. There's some here in these leaves, and I think I need to bring something over here. But this needs something in the middle. It's too... I don't know what I don't like the white. So that's bothering me. Or I could tuck something up here and bring the green around and have it in 3 places. I actually kind of like that better. And put a little wordy bit or something there, maybe. And then there's also, because this needs to be moved 59,000 times, I could do something like this and layer it, and I like that. Both maybe? Both places? What do you think? Yes, I like that. And I'm also considering leaving this up here. Do we have any more that is more toward friendship than home? We have that. We have those flowers. That's maybe a little large. I think that's the same size as this die cut. Let's try that. I wish I could hear y'all yelling at me. I like the layered effect, so we're going to go with that. I just don't know where to place it. I'm going to trim off a smidgen of this. And if I screw this up, I have one more. And you know what we do if we don't make a perfect circle? We rough up the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just giving it a little bit of texture. And to hide the fact that I'm human and didn't make a perfect circle. I like that better because more of the scallop is showing. That makes me happy. So I feel like it needs to come up this way more, because if I put it down here, it's too in line with this, and I don't want it to be on the same plane. I'm going to bring it up here. I don't feel like I need that, so let's bring this out a little more. You know what? It's done. I'm tired of fiddling. Tired of fiddling with it. My southern's coming out in me. Okay. Now, we talked about using maybe some of this, and I really like this one that says, "This makes me so happy." And I like this one that's in a lighter color that says, "This sparks joy." And this one says, "Together is the best place to be." And that's just a repetition of the word together up here. And that is very close to this color, so it's not making this huge jump into something else. So it's almost not there, but it gives a little bit of dimension. I like how this has turned out. Okay, we're going to call it quits and leave this finished. And I'm really proud of myself. I have jumped in and used the thing that I feel like I want to hoard. That's what I feel like. I feel like I want to hoard it. And I will tell you this, I'm not to the point where I could use this kit up, because I still want to have it. Having it is important to me as well. And I think maybe I need therapy because it's important to me to still have and hold this collection in my space. And that's the reality. That's the real deal right there. But I am using it, and I'm happy that I have. Come back and we will chat again soon. Bye bye.